RVers struggle on travel days, and so do we.
We do? Well, I'm not so sure about that, but we're going to talk about it in this episode of
Travels with Delaney.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Patrick.
And I'm Patty.
And this is another one of our monthly collaboration videos where we teamed up with 5 of our RV YouTube friends and we tackle a topic once a month. Now, this month, they all decided that we would talk about the struggles and worries that RVers have on travel days.
Right.
And honestly, I thought maybe we really shouldn't participate because of the fact that we don't really have struggles or worries.
No.
But then I thought, hey, we used to when we had that big 35-foot fifth wheel.
Right.
So maybe we could talk about how things differ today from back when we had that fifth wheel.
Okay.
And so that's what we're going to do. And so we're going to start with the first worry that we used to have that honestly we no longer have, and that is
the size of the campsite. Because with our 35-foot fifth wheel and our truck, we were always worried if we could fit into the site, the truck and the trailer.
That's right, because so many campgrounds don't necessarily have a lot of big rig friendly sites, and some, like national parks and state parks, may have a limit on how big of a trailer you can even bring into the park.
Right.
And so we have always had this philosophy about having no reservations about...
Having no reservations.
We like the freedom to just pick up and go.
That's why we camp.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but back when we had the fifth wheel, we couldn't always do that because there was always the fear that we might get there and they'd say, we just don't have a site big enough for your RV.
So we would really plan out our stops on our trip.
And with this 23-foot travel trailer, though, we can pretty much park it just about anywhere.
Right. Even at Cracker Barrels, it's easy for us to park in a spot designated for RVs compared to the fifth wheel.
Right. With the fifth wheel, typically we had to pull along the back of the parking lot, taking up lots of car spaces because there was no way we could fit into the RV slots. They just weren't long enough.
Right.
And so with this, I can just pull into an RV slot, only be taking up one space. Just gives us so much more flexibility on where we can actually spend the night and camp. The second thing that we no longer struggle with, but we used to,
is the route we take on our trips. We don't have to worry about that now. We don't have to worry about bridges, the height, or overhangs, or decorative trees getting in the way when we have to make turns. We don't have to worry about that.
At least as long as we're not within 100 miles of New York City. That's
Right.
the only time I worry. But you're right. Our fifth wheel was a height of over 12 feet tall. This trailer is somewhere around 10 foot 2 inches.
Right.
So we don't really have to worry, like Patty said, about the height of the trailer, trees, and low-hanging things. And the other nice thing is I can pretty much take this RV anywhere.
Right.
Now, do I prefer not to go through small towns and tight roads?
Sure.
Sure. But can we do it if we have to?
We're okay.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But with that fifth wheel, it was so long when we were completely hitched up that if we got on some small downtown road, it could make for a very challenging travel day.
Right.
And so, yeah, anymore though, we don't really worry. We like having this shorter length.
Sure.
It just makes travel days a lot easier.
Easier.
And finally, the last thing we don't worry about anymore.
Our fuel stops. We used to be able to, with the fifth wheel, we had to plan out. We called him the clipboard of funds, and he'd plan out all of the stops on our trip, like from here to Florida. So we knew exactly where we were going to get our fuel.
Yeah, that was quite a process because I would have to figure out, how many miles could we go and what would be our options. And primarily I would look for things like Flying J's where they would have dedicated RV lanes that I could easily get in and out of. And so I had to plan in advance because I couldn't just necessarily, or I was not confident pulling into just any gas station.
Yep.
But with our 23-foot travel trailer, now all I do is I do no planning. When we're driving, I say, hey, Patty, we're probably going to need fuel in the next 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, I use my iExit app and I look on there and I find, okay, this exit has this many gas stations, and we pull off and we just kind of eyeball which one looks good.
Yep, and I can pretty much just pull in with the cars and we fuel and I pull right back out. It just makes fuel stops so much easier, a lot less worry having the shorter trailer.
Right. All right.
I'm going to go ahead and have Patty pop that playlist right up here for you so you can check out our friends' videos, find out what kind of struggles and worries they have, and do you have some of those same struggles and worries? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. And until next time, everybody, we'll see ya.
On down the road.
Good night.